Hello everyone. Today I'm gonna give you guys 5 reasons why automatic transmission fluid flush in a transmission is a bad idea, and I'll give you 5 reasons why transmissions fail. Why is it that people, after taking their cars for automatic transmission flush, their transmission just suddenly after that just fails on them? That requires a complete rebuild or replacement of the whole transmission. 5 reasons. Reason number 1, and I will go into the details for every reason, is transmission fluid type that are being used during the flush is incorrect. Second reason, dirty equipment. Third reason, cleaner additive that's being added to the transmission. Fourth, filter. And the fifth, when people disconnect the hose while the engine is running and draining the transmission fluid. And these are the 5 reasons why transmissions fail, and I do not personally recommend transmission flush myself. So the first thing I'm going to explain to you, here is my little illustration, engine, transmission. I'm going to show you, I'll tell you, explain to you guys how the transmission works. So right there, this part here, that's a torque converter. Back in 90s, some cars had a drain plug. So when you do a service on the transmission, changing the fluid, you were able to drain the fluid from torque converter. Today, I don't know if any cars have the drain plug on a torque converter. Many cars today don't even have a drain plug on a transmission pan. So you gotta drop the transmission pan itself. So there is the transmission, as you can see, and here is the five reasons. So here is the 5 reasons. Automatic transmission type, automatic ATF type. So automatic transmission fluid type, dirty equipment, ATF, cleaner additive, and automatic transmission filter. And the 5th reason, disconnecting the hose. Here is right there is my illustration of the machine they use to flush. It has 2 tanks. One tank for the old fluid, another tank for the new fluid. And I will explain to you guys shortly in details as how all of this is being done. So let's start with our fluid type. So what is it why when I say transmission fluid type? For example, these are two different types of fluids. One is for the newer vehicles, the other one is for the older for newer vehicles, for older vehicles. Even though they're made by the same company, they're not compatible. When you mix them together, whatever you add type 4 to WS, then the chemical property are being changed now, so the specifications are being changed. Because when you add the different type of fluid, that's what I mean by type of fluid. Not a brand of the fluid, but a type. For example, next example. This transmission fluid is compatible only with the type 4. It's not compatible with with WS. So that's another thing, keep in mind. Another example. This here is compatible with the amsoil, with this type. Another example, Honda ATF Z1. It's compatible with this type. Then we have this type of, it's different. As you can see, there are 2 different products. This is for newer vehicles. These 2 WS, let me show you. This ATF by amsoil and WS are compatible, and those other 3 are compatible. So it's not a brand specifically, it's the compatibility. It has to be, so compatibility is one thing, but the type. When you take your car to Toyota dealership, for example, if they performed an ATF change or ATF flush on a 1995, say, Corolla, so when they perform the ATF change, flush on an older Corolla using Type 4, and then someone brought in a 2012 Camry. They use WLS transmission fluid. So what they do when someone brings in a different car, see that box? Oh, you're probably not gonna see it. Let me show you. That box right there, not the box, that little illustration that I have. The illustrations that I have. You see, there is a new and there is an old. So there is two containers in the machine. When they need to do a transmission flush, they add a new fluid to this container, but they don't clean those containers or the tanks. They don't clean those tanks in the machine between different type of fluids. So before it was Type 4, now they add in Type 5. So now you're going to have some contamination of different types of fluids. Not a brand of fluid, but that could be two. But if they're compatible, it's not an issue. It's only the issue when you have different types. Dirty equipment. What do I mean by dirty equipment? The hose that they use that comes from the machine, yes, the hose that's connected from the machine to the transmission, it's either connected to a dipstick tube or they disconnect a hose that goes to the cooler. That hose is exposed to dust, dirt in a shop. They don't clean that. They attach it, and guess what? Now you are injecting dirt into the transmission. Plus, because they don't clean the machine between each use, and it's the same hose used to extract and the same hose used to add the fluid. So before, maybe transmission was damaged. When they were extracting the fluid, metal particles, whatever, could have been stuck somewhere, and then when they connected to your car, now they're injecting with a new fluid some metal particles, dirt, and different type of transmission fluid. Because the way the machine works is when it's connected, it extracts. So before they even extract anything, they add a cleaner. They add a cleaner to the machine or to the transmission, depends on which type, if it has a dipstick or not. They run the engine in park position, car, while the engine is running. Hose is connected. They extract like 4 or 8 ounces of fluid from the transmission that goes to the old container, and then from the new container, they add the new fluid. Let's say your transmission requires 6 quarts total. So they add 6 quarts, and then engine's running, transmission isn't parked. They extract 4 or 8 ounces, I don't remember, depends on this, a very small amount. Their fluid goes to the old container, and then once they extract, now through the same hose, you were pumping, they were extracting old fluid. Now new fluid is being pumped back. So if anything got stuck, now it's being injected back with a new fluid. And they keep doing it, it's exchange, it's 1-to-1 ratio. 4 ounces out, 4 ounces in. And they keep doing it until fluid in the new container is completely out. So basically they do it till, if it's 6 quarts, then 6 quarts are in and 6 quarts out. So you don't really get a full flush as you think you are. A lot of people think that they vacuum out and extract all the fluid from the transmission, and once it's all extracted, they put a new ones. No, you cannot do that. While the engine is running and transmission is set to park, you only do in small quantities. Because if you do in large quantities, if you extract a lot of fluid while the engine is running, think about it. Torque converter is spinning. The parts are spinning inside the transmission. And if you extract a lot of fluid, what are you going to do? The level will go down, and now your parts exposed inside the transmission, and they're running, spinning dry without any fluid. So you're doing more harm than good. That's why there is people who they say you disconnect the hose, you start the car, and you drain the fluid. Well, congratulations. If you did that, you have done the damage to your transmission. You have overheated your clutches, disc clutches on the inside the transmission, your seals. The life of the transmission has been shortened by 50% at least. So never disconnect the hose, never while to drain the transmission fluid. That's why they have those machines, but machines don't even vacuum everything. You can't vacuum everything out. The machine relies on a pump, transmission pump, to circulate. When they remove a little bit, they add a little bit, and they keep doing it until fluid in that container completely is replenished. So it's basically exchange. You add one, you exchange for the new one. Old out, new in, old out, new in, and I will demonstrate. You cannot vacuum everything from a torque converter. So fluid in a torque converter, it stays there if it's not running. But when the transmission is running, everything is spinning, the pump in the transmission, it circulates through, and you get just probably roughly 60% of new fluid exchange. So the other option, instead of paying somewhere less $300, what you can do yourself is drain the fluid, whatever comes out, put it back in, same amount, start the engine, run it for 5 minutes, and then after 5 minutes, drain again, put the same amount back, and you have a more than 50%, more than 60% of new fluid inside of your transmission. So there is no such a thing as vacuum everything out. You cannot, because if you do, while the engine is running, you will damage your transmission. You will overheat inside your components of the transmission. And if you think you're going to remove everything, you cannot. The only way to remove all the fluid when the engine is not running is taking the transmission apart, pulling the torque converter, and that's the only way. So dirty equipment, ATF cleaner. I haven't talked about ATF cleaner. So the ATF cleaner is the additive that's being added to the transmission. Well, if you exchange one-to-one, that additive is still there, no matter what. Small percentage. So if your transmission at a point, what it does, it cleans, you know what I mean? It dissolves the buildup on the inside. So if it's strong to dissolve the buildup, think of it. It is strong enough to dissolve your clutch material. It's strong enough to dissolve your seals. And so basically it's there. And slowly by slowly, this is the reason why people's transmission fail. One of the reasons, you know, when you combine 5 reasons or 4 reasons, depending how it's being done, it's a recipe for disaster. Different type of transmission, dirty equipment. You add the cleaner, you know what I mean? If your transmission at a point that needs cleaner, might as well drive it till it completely fails. Don't even spend money on a flush or even transmission fluid. You know, it's done. The damage is already done. There is nothing you can do to reverse. You cannot add a material, you know, it's like a tire tread. You're not going to spray a water or any kind of additive to add a layer of tread on your tire. You got to retread, you know what I mean? You got to take it and put another layer. Same thing with transmission. They claim there's all kind of additives out there that can improve and restore. No, you cannot restore something that is already worn out and gone. That's why aromatic transmission fluid cleaner or additive cleaner that they add, it destroys. Slowly by slowly, you know what I mean? Because you cannot get everything out. And I will demonstrate. Filter. There is 2 types of filters. There is filters like a engine oil filter type of material that should be replaced every time you do a transmission flush. And there is filters like a screen type, like a window screen. So those filters you pretty much never replace unless transmission was abused and high mileage. Otherwise you leave it there. There is no need, because when they hook up the machine at a shop to do a flush, they do not replace. So that filter is being dissolved by the cleaner, the additive, the cleaner additive. Once it's dissolved, it clogs up your transmission and clogs up the ports, and now your transmission is not getting the fluid where it needs to be because of the filter that was dirty. Now it's being dissolved, now it's being clogged up. It's clogged up and it clogs up all other ports inside the transmission, and disconnecting the hose, like I already said. People disconnect the hoses or the hose, start the car, and then drain 4 or 5 ports. Well, the engine is running at what, 800, 900. revolution per minute, so it's spinning pretty fast. And if you don't have enough fluid in transmission, well, you just, you overheating the parts and you just damaging inside. So never do automatic transmission flush. You're better off just drain and fill yourself, or just let the shop drain and do more often than a flush. And never disconnect the hose to drain some of the transmission fluid. And now I'm gonna demonstrate to you guys how the transmission, how it actually works, the flush. Here's the example. Let's say this is my transmission. Let's say this is my the machine that they do to do a transmission flush. It's pre-filled already with the new transmission fluid, and this bottle, this container or tank will be used to extract from this bottle to there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to demonstrate how it works. So basically, here how it works. Let's say it's our transmission. You hook up the hose from the machine and you start extracting small quantities. I'm going to extract in small quantities. So I'm going to add to this bottle, just like a container, or to the container that it's empty, just a little bit. And I'm going to do probably 6 times. Now I'm going to add new fluid. This is what the machine does. It removes a little bit and then adds a little bit. I'm going to do it again now. Mix it. Because the engine is running, things are spinning, the pump is pumping the fluid. I'm going to extract again small quantity. But remember, when they add a cleaner, the cleaner is still there. No matter how many times you extract. Extract and add new fluid. So now I'm going to again add new fluid. And now I'm going to add the last drop of it. So now this bottle or the container that was full of new fluid inside the transmission flush machine, it's empty. And this other container that was meant for old fluid, now it's full. So now your transmission, is it as clean as was the new one? No. It has about 50-60%. So let's see, which fluid is cleaner? The one they used or the new one? Well, to me they look both the same. They're both the same because you're not vacuuming everything out. It's one-to-one. You remove one, you add one. So this is the basic steps or the basics details of transmission flush, how it's done. If you have any questions about transmission fluid, transmission filters, one thing I forgot to mention about the filter. If you have any questions about the transmission, amsoil transmission fluid, where it can be purchased, there will be a link in my description. Transmission fluid, engine oil, any amsoil products. If you're interested, let me know. There will be a link in my description. And in terms of compatibility, I have other videos that I have done on different types of transmission fluid services, replacing on Toyotas, Lexus, Ford. So I'll post a link if you're interested in learning more about how to do a transmission fluid change on any vehicles. Pretty much this is it. I think I covered everything. To do, avoid transmission flush, period. Do just a drain and fill. And if you want your transmission to last, do it more often. Don't wait more than past 40,000. 30,000 it's the rule of thumb. Unless you're using synthetic fluid like amsoil, then you can go 50,000, you can go 60,000. Otherwise, stick to the rule of thumb, 30,000, light driving. If you do heavy towing, you're better off doing a 20,000. Because service fluid is cheaper than replacing a transmission. Transmissions are very expensive. Repairs are expensive, not counting the time that you lose in not having the vehicle, not be able to get to your work, or if it's your business, you know what I mean. It costs you on the long run. So don't forget to subscribe. There will be a link where you can buy amsoil products or amsoil transmission fluid if you want on my channel. If you have any questions, comments, leave down below in my description. Don't forget to share this video with others. Let others know that transmission flush is not really a flush like people think.